Until 2019, I used to upgrade to each new Samsung flagship device, but after the S10 Plus, I gave up as I did not find the upgrades meaningful. Since then, I've been waiting for a device that I can finally upgrade to. I passed the Note 10, I also passed the S20, and now the Note 20 lineup has landed. So it's time for me to think again if I want to upgrade the phone finally this time. I have used the Note 20 Ultra, the Exynos variant, for quite some time, and I am going to get into all the details of this phone. In the end, I'll let you guys know if I am upgrading or not. So if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon, and also thumbs up if you find this video useful at some point. Note 20 Ultra changes many things for a Samsung flagship. Let me give you an overview of its specs first of all. Its main highlights include a 6.9 inches dynamic AMOLED panel, a 108 megapixels main camera sensor, 4500 mAh battery with 25 watts super fast charging, and the remaining specs are on your screen. I got my hands on the Mystic Black Note 20 Ultra because I think the bronze obsession was getting on everyone's nerves. However, the Mystic Black does not only have a different color, but a different type of back panel as well. Bronze one has this frosted or matte back, while the Mystic Black has this shiny finish, which is literally a fingerprint magnet. Especially when your hands sweat, it is going to turn into a nightmare. It's got a boxy design with cutting edge wheels all over it. The camera hump is nearly half the thickness of the phone itself. The phone is actually way too sleek. This is a big phone, so do not think of using it with one hand, but the boxy design and those flat cuts at the top and at the bottom bezel add a lot to its grip. Note 20 Ultra's volume and power buttons are placed on the right side. At the bottom is the USB Type-C port, a big stereo speaker, and the primary mic, and you can also see that the placement of the S Pen has changed this year. At the top is the SIM card slot for 2 nano SIM cards or 1 nano SIM card and 1 micro SD card. Find the secondary noise cancellation mic. Front and back of this phone are protected by Gorilla Glass 7, aka the Gorilla Glass Victus. This is the first for any smartphone. The phone further has IP68 rating, which makes it resistant to water and dust. And by the way, the frame of this phone is built out of stainless steel. Moving on to the front, we get this huge cinema-like 6.9 inches dynamic AMOLED HDR10 Plus supported display with 120Hz refresh rate. Dynamic AMOLED panels can have a brightness of up to 1550 nits. The display is super crisp, the colors pop well, colors are quite vibrant on it. Because of that massive screen to body ratio and almost zero bezels and a minute bottom chin, this display provides an experience second to none. Dynamic AMOLED displays are Samsung's own baby, and on their flagship device, they can't and they won't let anything go wrong. The screen either offers adaptive refresh rate or 60 Hz. Adaptive refresh rate would work only with Full HD resolution, but if you switch to the QHD resolution, you will be limited to 60 Hz only. Adaptive refresh rate can move the screen's refresh rate between 0 and 120 Hz, leaving a direct positive impact on the battery of the phone. While I am talking about the screen, I would also like to talk about the typing and the S Pen experience on it. Samsung has either improved its existing haptic motor or added a new vibration motor to the Note 20 Ultra. Whatever the company has done, it has resulted in immense awesomeness. The haptic feedback feels too amazing. Typing on this phone is such a treat. Switching the phone to the landscape mode splits the keyboard, and I believe this is either a Note 20 Ultra exclusive feature or it's a One UI 2.5 feature. The haptic feedback takes things to a whole new level when you press the shutter button in the camera application. That super smooth and nice clicky sound is one of its own kind. For security, the phone uses an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which, if you turn off its animations, works faster than anything else. For me, the placement of the fingerprint reader is a little awkward as I am used to the S10 Plus's close to bottom fingerprint reader. On the software end, Samsung is using One UI 2.5, which still runs on the top of Android 10. There is nothing really new in the One UI 2.5 except for the improved overall experience, including better animations and better performance. The Note 20 Ultra, however, gets some exclusive features, including a new wireless DeX. You don't need a USB Type-C cable to connect DeX now. You can just pull the phone out of your pocket, find a Samsung Smart TV nearby, and transform it into a computer on the go. All this without wires. It also gets Android's nearby sharing feature to share large files and data between two phones quickly. The best part is about the software updates. I don't know if you already know this, but at the Unpacked event, one of the slides showed the Note 20's eligibility for up to 3 generations of software updates. Typically, Samsung phones could get software updates up to 2 generations only, but with the Note, things are going to change for better. S Pen's functionality somewhat remains similar. Samsung has improved its latency. It has come down to 9 milliseconds now. For those who don't know, in simple words, it means that the S Pen will now type as soon as you touch or move the pen on the screen of the Note. You will not face any delay between touching the screen of the Note and seeing the results on the screen. S Pen's other features to control the phone's certain tasks or the camera application are all the same. I have talked about it in detail in my tips and tricks video for the Note 20 Ultra. Hardware is where things get exciting and a bit disappointing too. Note 20 Ultra comes with 256 gigs of base storage. This is a UFS 3.0 storage chip, extremely fast, reliable, and really good to see a higher capacity storage chip becoming a new standard. The phone is further available in 8 gigs and 12 gigs of RAM. Wait, well, yes, you heard that right. The 8 gigs of RAM is there on the Exynos variant of the Note 20 Ultra in Asia, Middle East, Australia, and in some other regions and countries. So basically, the Note 20 Ultra's Exynos 990 variant either comes with 8 gigs of RAM or 12 gigs of RAM, but its Snapdragon 865 Plus counterpart comes with 12 gigs of RAM only. So as long as you are getting the Snapdragon variant of the 5G enabled or without the 5G Note 20 Ultra, you are all good, as that will have 12 gigs of RAM by default. But you have to be really careful while picking up the Exynos variant, as there is a lot of confusion here. Exynos variant comes with 8 gigs of RAM or 12 gigs of RAM. The Exynos 5G variant, however, comes with 12 gigs of RAM only. And by the way, this RAM happens to be the LPDDR5. That was about the RAM. Let's talk about the CPU. Exynos 990 is an old chipset that we saw on the S20 Ultra 2, while the Snapdragon 865 Plus is pretty new. If we go by the numbers, the Exynos 990 is about 200k points behind the Snapdragon 865 Plus as far as the Antutu benchmark is concerned. This is a huge difference because both the Exynos and the Snapdragon variants cost the same. While you are getting a powerful Note 20 Ultra in one country, you are getting a lot less powerful version of the same device in another country for the same money. The Exynos variant uses Mali G77 MP11 GPU, while the Snapdragon 865 Plus uses the Adreno 650 GPU. Now let me tell you that it is not that the Exynos variant is bad or there is something else wrong with this. In my gaming test, the Exynos variant showed excellent performance. It held the FPS rate above 58. It also did not heat up. This was by far the best experience on an Exynos phone that I have ever had. But when you can get a better device for the same amount of money, then why should you compromise? So my suggestion is that make your variant choice carefully. Speakers are probably one of the best parts of this phone. The stereo speakers are extremely loud and ultra clear. Even if you end up covering the phone's speaker with your hand while playing the games, the sound is still going to be great. And here is the speaker test for all of you. Cameras are among the most talked features of the Note 20. It's got 3 of them at the back. The main camera here is 108 megapixels Samsung's in-house HM1 sensor. It's got a 12 megapixels telephoto lens with 5x optical and 50x digital zoom, and a 12 megapixels ultra wide lens is there too. On the front, it's got a single 10 megapixels camera. Camera app is loaded quite well with the new features. This phone can capture 108 megapixels images that go all the way up to 30 MB in size. In the normal mode, it comes 9 times down and takes images in 12 megapixels. The phone has got its powerful Pro mode with raw capture capability and a video Pro mode that can shoot 1080p at 120 frames per second, 4K at 60 frames per second, and 8K at 24 frames per second. Video Pro mode also brings a custom mic feature. Note 20 Ultra's cameras use an incredible image stabilization, which happens to be the optical image stabilization. I have done a full camera review of this phone and you can take a look at that too. For now, I'll attach some camera samples here for you to judge. Now there is a 4500 mAh battery in this phone. As long as you are using the phone with the full HD resolution with adaptive screen refresh rate, things are going to run smooth. But QHD can suck the battery juice faster. In fact, using the full HD at 60Hz will let your phone last for more than 1 day. On a normal use with the out of the box display settings, this phone will easily last for over a day with the Wi-Fi and the mobile data turned on. And yes, the S Pen also uses the phone's battery to charge itself. So if you use the S Pen too much, expect that to consume a fair share of the Note's battery. To charge it, we get a 25-watt fast charger in the box. This charger will take no longer than 70 minutes to fully charge the phone. And that brings us to the conclusion. When it comes to picking up a flagship device like the Note 20 Ultra, the value for money thing is often dismissed and only the features and the luxury is looked upon. In that sense, the Note 20 Ultra is a beast. It gives you all that premiumness for its hefty price tag. It is powerful enough to stand next to any upcoming competitor too, but the Note's beastly characteristics can be overshadowed because of its Exynos variant in some countries. I believe the phone's success is purely tied to its higher end Snapdragon variant, and when I talk about success, I mean the phone's acceptability by the end users. Let me tell you about my decision now. I am getting the Note 20 Ultra. It's a long due update, but let me tell you how I am personally going about it. In my region, there is only 8GB Exynos variant of the phone available, which is what I don't want. I want a Snapdragon 865 Plus variant with 12GB of RAM, and only then I am willing to pay $1300 for this phone, and I am probably going to arrange that from some other country. Let me know about your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up, and if you loved it, hit the subscribe button. With that said, I will sign off and see you all in the next video.